Welcome to week 6. Checklist at the top of the homepage as usual. This is a good way to navigate your week. I'll try to make this snappy. First and foremost, I want to highlight that I have office hours. If you want to stop by office hours, just click this link during 3 to 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and I will be here. You don't need to use a video. We can have an audio chat or talk by text. If you don't want to use Zoom, feel free to send me a Canvas or a Pronto message and we can have a live chat. I'm also available outside of my office hours. Send me Pronto messages anytime or schedule an appointment. Okay, back to our week. So top of the list we have logic quiz number 1. Same advice I gave you last week. The best way to study for a quiz is to take the practice quiz like it's a real quiz. Give yourself the opportunity to make mistakes and find the gaps in your knowledge. So sit down and take the quiz from beginning to end without looking at anything, and ideally time yourself. The actual quiz has a timer and that can be intimidating, but if you know about how long it takes you to take a quiz, you can try to ignore that more. Okay, so logic quiz number 1. We are continuing to work on cognitive biases. At the top of the cognitive biases module, there's a breakdown of what we're focusing on each week, and this week it's the representativeness heuristic and framing effects. We're adding those to the mix, so you can expect these to be the focus of this week's homework, but you can also expect to see the things we've focused on in the last 2 weeks: confirmation bias, availability bias, fundamental attribution error, and illusion of truth effect. One thing I want to highlight is that our new bias for this week, representativeness heuristic, is a bias that has to do with reasoning about probability. We saw another bias already that has to do with reasoning about probability, the availability bias. So one thing that will be fruitful to do is try to identify what are the essential differences between cases of availability bias and representativeness heuristic, since both have to do with reasoning about probability. Okay, so that's cognitive biases. Now there's a new module in Unit 1 as our focus for this week, and there are 3 homework assignments associated with it. The first one is just review. This is from the first 4 modules. It's review, and now we're going to build on where we left off after arguments quiz number 1. So let's take a look at the materials. If I click this link, or if I scroll down here and click this link, we're going to the same place. Okay, our goal is to dig deeper into the process of analyzing and reconstructing arguments, and in this module we're going to focus on clarifying the arguments we've been given. So one thing that I want to highlight here is that our goal is to illuminate arguments. In general, in Unit 1, the goal is to be able to identify arguments when we are faced with them, to be able to identify the conclusion and the premises, be able to extract what's essential to the argument from what's inessential so that we can understand them better but also grapple with them and eventually evaluate them. We'll worry about evaluating them in other modules. In this unit, we are focusing on understanding and engaging with arguments more deeply. Again, the goal is to illuminate the underlying reasoning, the core or essential pieces, what exactly is being asserted, and what is supposed to support what. At first it can feel like we're just rearranging things, but we're trying to illuminate the reasoning. The text for this module is essential, so definitely read the text. It's a series of examples, so they're essential. Read the examples. There's a practice worksheet as usual, and there's also an interactive lecture / interactive guided practice exercises, and these are Google Slides, so if you click here, you can go through, and there will be questions, and you should attempt to answer them either in your head or write them down before moving on to seeing the answer. And it'll sort of walk you through passage analysis questions, where you're tasked with clarifying an argument you've been given by cutting stuff that's inessential and making other parts clear, perhaps by rewording it. So that's Unit 1.5, clarifying. And that concludes our introduction to Week 6. Good luck and don't hesitate to reach out with questions. I look forward to hearing how it goes in your week 6 check-in.